everyone, welcome back to Learning Bridge. I hope you guys are doing good and staying safe. I'm back again with my new video.
तो कौन सा तीर मारा? ऐसा कौन सा एहसान किया?
For this session, we have a very special guest, Mr. Devang Sharma. He is pursuing his BTech final year from MIT Delhi and he's a member of Google Developer Group Singapore as well. You know what, guys? Devang has done 9 internships till now, and recently he has interviewed with tech giants like Google, Facebook, Apple, Compass. So watch each and every second of this video because this is going to be really important for the freshers and pre-final year students. In this session, he has discussed about his internships, interview pattern of Facebook, commonly asked system design questions in interviews, important data structures, algorithms and tricks to solve the coding questions during the face-to-face interview rounds, and how to become a part of Google developer groups. So watch this video till the end and please hit the subscribe button and press the notification bell so that you can get the notification for my latest videos. So without wasting time, let's jump on to the session.
Hi Devang, welcome to my channel, and first of all thank you very much for taking time for this session. So we will start this session with very basic question like I would ask you to introduce yourself and like what is your background and how has your career path been so far?
Hey Shashank, thanks a lot for inviting me first of all, and thanks for taking your time to give me this opportunity. So talking about my background, I am currently pursuing BTech from MIT Delhi. I'm a final year CSE student, and talking about my experience, I have done 9 internships as of now, with total experience of 2 years. Recently, I finished my internship at ATLX Labs, and before that, I was SD intern at OYO. So in this base 2 years of journey, I have learned a lot in terms of tech stack, in terms of professional tools, in terms of technical and non-technical skills. So talking about my journey, just to give you a brief idea about that, I have worked in various domains, including full stack development, machine learning, data analytics, data science, and visualization.
मेरे पास कोई अल्फाज नहीं है, मुझे माफ कर दे आप लोग सारे, मुझे छुट्टी दे दें.
And to be honest, I have worked with almost every tool under the sun for these specific technologies. I have worked with front end, I have worked with back end, even testing for Selenium tools and Puppeteer. And for cloud, AWS, Azure, DevOps, almost everything. I got exposure to everything. That was the best part of doing this internship and gaining this much exposure. And even better than that, this gave me the opportunity to enhance myself as an individual contributor as well as a good team player. Back when I saw that when I joined as a fresher in 2016 in MIT Delhi, it was very difficult for me to adapt to the environment considering this scenario that was there. When I joined the college, I was expecting something good to there, something specific learning to there. But when I joined there, it was just a simple class routine that I have found in the school. So for the first month, I realized what's the difference between a school and a college. If you just have to copy the assignment and submit there is no value in learning that. There's nothing I'm gaining out of it. So I decided to go for the internships, and because that's the best way I can get in connection with any of the corporate offices or even get an experience to that for that matter.
Right.
So I remember back in 2018, it was 2018 January in fact. So it was my first internship there in Namaskar with Love Foundation, which is an NGO. I worked as a front-end developer there. I built their website from scratch from front-end. And long story short, it has been now 2 years completing 9 internships with a hell lot of experience and amazing exposure. Now talking about that was a brief introduction about me, and now talking about my competitive programming experience. I nearly started around 2 years ago my competitive programming. I was a very noob there. I was nothing new to there, and just out of curiosity, what is this buzzword around the competitive programming? Why everyone talks about it? So I just started it. I just started around solving Geek for Geeks. Then after solving complete Geek for Geeks, I moved to HackerRank and HackerEarth, and slowly I started taking part in lead code competitions. Lead code has 2 competitions, weekly contest and bi-weekly contest. Although initially I was not at that level that I can solve all the 4 questions, I was able to solve only 1 question within that 1.5 hour contest, or sometimes 2. But now with this span of time, I gained experience, and solving a lot of questions boosted my confidence. And as of now, I am also performing very well in Code Forces or SPOJ contest. And just recently, I got into the top 1 percentile in Google Kickstart as well.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the biggest achievement that I'm proud of right now in terms of competitive coding. the best part about competitive coding that I like is that it involves higher problem solving skills. It's not that you are limited to one problem, like you're solving graph and you're solving 50 or 100 questions in graph. It's a variety of skill set. So when you, as of now, I've solved more than 2000 questions, to be honest. And based upon the 2000 question, I have the variety of almost dealing with every algorithm or every topic. Not completely, nobody can learn all the algorithms, but based upon that exposure I've got, be it the DFS, be it the BFS or union find, or any algorithm that you go with generally in data structures. So it gives a varied set of problem solving skills to me. And yes, that's a debrief about what I have done in competitive programming now.
Okay, thanks for sharing your experience, Devang. And okay, so let's move on to our next question. I know you have recently interviewed in tech giants like Google, Facebook, Compass. So how was your interview experience in Facebook?
Okay, so yeah, I recently interviewed with 3 tech giants, Google, Facebook, and Compass. And the common pattern was that all of them were on-site roles. There was no role for India. They were for Google, it was for Japan, Tokyo, Japan there. And for Facebook, it was in New York. And for Compass, it was in US. They're hiring for both office, US and Hyderabad. It was for the US for me. Now, talking specifically about Facebook, that a recruiter contacted me on LinkedIn and indicating that your profile looks good and we are hiring for this particular role for new grads. And if you're interested, you can revert your resume with the email ID. So I was really keen to know that they are hiring for New York role. And so I just dropped my resume there along with a brief introduction of my achievements and what I have achieved yet. So she liked my resume and she's told me that we are going to move forward with the application. So the role that I was offered there was production engineer, so new grade. They're hiring for multiple roles for the new grade. I've been software engineer, production engineer, and backend engineer. Almost for new grade, all the 3 roles are same with just minor differences. So the pattern is quite same for that. If I talk about general pattern in Facebook is that not many people know about the Facebook pattern because rarely people from India itself go for the Facebook. Although many people apply for Google and they have the shared experience, but in terms of a talk about Facebook, there is not much experience available in as per in the current India. And but I also talked to many of my friends to gain the experience, but nobody from my network has given that. So it was quite new to me as well. So I checked various websites like Glassdoor, Indeed, and other platforms to know how the platform is like. So if I have to give you a general idea is that for a new grad, their number of rounds can be around 5 to 6. And that number of rounds vary upon 2 things. Number one, which location you are hiring for. And the second is number of applicants. If there are more number of applicants, then they can reduce the number of rounds. Otherwise, you can expect up to 5 to 6 rounds. So for me, since I applied through the referral, so there was a first round was direct coding test. Those who don't apply through referral and go with the career website, initially there is a phone screen, technical phone screen by the recruiter to make sure that you are at least at the threshold level.
Okay.
So now continuing with that, first there was a coding test. The coding test was comprising of many coding questions and as well as Linux questions, along with some operating system question as well.
Okay.
The coding questions were simple DSLGO based, and if I have to say in terms of, I cannot share the questions because I have signed the NDA, and also it's not ethically right to share questions of any particular organization without their permission, right? So if I have to say in terms of how difficult the questions were, you can expect up to lead code medium. One was lead code medium and one was typically lead code hard or code forces problem D, as you can consider in contest.
Okay.
So that was the first coding test, and the time limit was around 2 hours 30 minutes, and I was able to complete the test within 2 hours, so I submitted it. Around 3 days later, I received the invite from the recruiter. She called me via call and told me that I have cleared it, and next there will be 4 more rounds. So regarding those 4 rounds, there were 2 technical interviews. Technical interviews as in on CoderPad, where you can do live coding with the other person. One was the system design, and last one was the combination of managerial and behavioral round. So the best part that I liked about Facebook is that before every round, they have at least informed me at least 2 to 3 days before, like on this particular day, you will have interview with this person. And that really helped me a lot because they have also shared the resources to refer to. So this is something that I appreciate. Being from such premium organization, you give so much value to the candidates. This shows that if you give value to your candidates, then when he will join the organization, how much value you will give him as an employee or her as an employee. So that is one thing I really appreciate about Facebook and the recruiter. So After that, there were two technical interview round. They were coding round on Coderpad, and it was around 1 hour long both. And you can assume that in that 1 hour, I was given two questions in both the rounds, to total four questions. Along with that, the interview was expecting me to come with the most optimized approach, and I was able to solve all the four questions. Three and a half I have solved, but when he twisted the last question, I was not come up with the code. But I gave the idea that this is how it goes. But we were done with that time, so we said, okay, no, there's no need to code. I got your approach.
Okay.
The interviews were very helpful. They gave me feedback at the moment and told me, and at any moment where I was stuck, they were giving me right feedback. They were also instructing me, can you think of this? Can you think of that? So in terms of that, they were very helpful, and it was really having a knowledgeful interaction with them. I really thoroughly enjoyed the process. So next round was system design round, and it was the best interview round that I appeared for. The reason is that I have been doing system design for both LLD and HLD for almost around 4 months as of now. So I have in-depth knowledge of that. And system design is something that every major tech company, be it the Fang company and the Microsoft, or even premier industrial banks like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, they all ask this system design question, because it is expected that when you are joining at such a good organization, 5 years down the line or 7 years down the line, you will be an architect there. So you have to think of the system, what system you have to design, and what functionalities you have to take care of, which resources you have to use, how are you going to make a platform of that. So all these things are inbuilt at a very young stage for as a junior developer.
Right.
So that was the best round I had, and the question I cannot share, but yeah, it's a very generic set of questions in terms of system design. And the discussion went for more than 1 hour. The limit was 1 hour, but we crossed that limit because it was such a wonderful discussion. And I really enjoyed throwing this idea could be implemented, this system should be implemented, how it could be implemented. And the last round was managerial cum behavioral. And after these 5 rounds, I was pretty sure that I would make it. And considering the amount of experience I have gained and the competence, I was expecting that this time I would make it to the Facebook. But unfortunately, around a week later after that, after all the 5 rounds, my recruiter called me and she told me that they will not be moving forward with my application. Although I couldn't make it to the Facebook, but certainly it is one of the best experiences I have ever faced. I have also been to Google. I have also been in Compass and other major tech companies like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. But the best part about Facebook is that they give you very detailed feedback. With each round, they have given a very detailed feedback, and that really helped me a lot. And maybe that time I didn't make it. I am also preparing for the next times, and let's hope for the best.
Sure, Devang. And like the kind of effort you are putting for your interviews, I'm pretty sure you will make it one day for sure. So
Yeah.
I would ask you to share some important algorithms a candidate should know while interviewing in such tech giants.
Okay, so as in computer programming, we have a varied set of syllabus, and people should know which particular section to emphasize more and which particular section to emphasize less. That's my personal opinion. Because if you see any major organization conducting interviews, there are, let's say, 5 to 6 areas they're specifically focusing on. Now, let me give an example. Most of the companies, if they're asking 2 questions, it is around 70 to 80% chance that at least one of that questions would be on DP, dynamic programming. And the other question might probably be on trees or on the graphs. This is not a hard and fast rule, but yeah, it is generally the pattern that you can see in every major tech company. Yeah. So if I have to list the algorithms that you have to go for, is that first you should know all the algorithms. I'm not saying that you should skip any algorithm only and specific to that. You should learn all the algorithms first and all the data structures. And now coming to which you should focus, emphasize on that, be crystal clear with which data structure you have to use. For example, if you're using a map, can you think of another solution of that using Union Find? Because Union Find is much more better than map that perform in a particular question. Again, it's a question dependent, but again, you should be very clear with, okay, if I'm using this particular structure, if I'm using a stack or a queue, or let's say priority queue, what is the purpose of that? Why should I use that in that question? Be very clear with the data structure you're using. First thing. Second thing is the algorithm you're using. If the problem is overlapping subsequence, and it is make sure that something of maximum or minimum, then you have to be assured it is using dynamic programming. And you get that concept only when you are logically clear with the concepts. So algorithms like dynamic programming or greedy algorithm or let's say BFS, DFS, where to use it, you only get to know based upon the experience and the logical clear of what this algorithm does. Because once you are clear with dynamic programming, at every stage it stores the address of the last stage there, and then it moves to that. So once you're clear with that instructions, I think problem solving becomes a fun rather than a competition or something tough. You actually start enjoying to that. You come to the most optimized solution. You yourself push yourself to come optimized solution, because that's how it becomes. So first advice would be that learn all the algorithms, learn with the data structures, but make sure that you're crystal clear with it. Every DS you have used, be it stack, queue, anything that you have used, or even user-defined data structure, and then make sure that you are able to implement it as the time required. Second, be clear with the algorithms, what the algorithm does, in which question you have to implement that particular algorithm, and why.
Okay.
Now, my personal insights that I want to give the candidates in a coding interviews that I have given more than 60 interviews as of now. God damn! And I have taken around 20 to 25 interviews as well. So what I have learned is that what I have seen in many candidates that immediately listening to a question or reading a question, they jump into coding. This is the worst mistake you can do in coding around. This is what I do, and I'm not saying it is the best technology. There may be better techniques, but this is what I generally do, and I think it's working. It is working for me in every case. So this is what I do. When I see a question, I read the question at least twice to make through, because what I have seen is more or less all the questions that you are doing. If you had solved more than 1,000, 2,000 questions, all the questions are just same or similar or just an extension of it. So you just need to read the question again and get the keywords there. For example, largest consecutive subsequence or consecutive subsequence, and make sure that you underline those keywords. Okay, this is what I have to do. What it will do is it will hit your mind if you have solved a previous question like that. Okay, it will hit my mind if I have solved this using DP, I can implement it here as well. That's the first thing. Second, and the most important thing which most candidates ignore is that they ignore the constants. And to be honest, if you consider constant, they give you 30% of the answer there itself.
Okay.
Let me just give you an example. For example, if the constant are given as 10 to the power 18, the order is of 10 to the power 18, then you have to solve in a complexity of log n. If the order is of 10 to the power 8, then you have to get a linear solution. Here n square won't work. It will get time limit exceed. Or if of the order of 10 to the power 4, then it can be solved in O n square. So and if it is of the order of 10 to the power, which 10 to the power 7, which is generally in most of the coding questions, then you have to solve in the n log n. So if you observe the constants carefully, 30% of the question is solved there, because you get to know, okay, the complexity would be n log n. Let me give an example. Let's say the constants are m, n, and other variables are 10 to the power 7. So your mind will hit, okay, the minimum complexity that I need to solve is n log n. Now n log n, now start thinking like this. What possibly could be n log n? What algorithms can hit with your mind with n log n? Start thinking in terms of math, start thinking in terms of union find, start thinking in terms of other DS you have used. So if you think the question is already solved, you don't need to jump into it. And so 50% of the task is done when you read the questions at least twice, underline the keywords, and go through the constants. Now the rest 50% is every question has multiple approaches. Start with the brute force. Don't jump into the optimized one. There is no need. Start with the brute force. Don't code yet. Don't code yet. Let's say if you have 30 minutes for there, 10 minutes or 15 minutes is enough for coding. Within 15 minutes, you can write 100 lines of code. It's no big deal. But for that 15 minutes, make sure you go with the structured approach. Discuss the brute force approach with the interviewer. If the interviewer seems satisfied, he would ask you to go with the optimized one. Then discuss multiple approaches with him. And as soon as he agrees, okay, this is the most optimized approach, and you both agree of considering the edge cases, a very important thing. You need to consider edge cases as well, and then you can start coding. When you jump into coding, you unnecessarily take pressure, and then the questions you are not able to solve the question, that will all create a pressure as well. And under nervousness, you won't be able to solve anything at all. So this is the structure I follow. I'm not saying it is the hard and fast rule, but generally it gives results to be honest.
Devang. So let's move on to our next question. So next question is related to system designing. So what are some commonly asked system designing questions you have faced in Tech Giant?
Okay, so regarding system design, I have been doing system design for past 4 months, both the LLD and HLD. For a new grade, I think LLD is sufficient. You don't need to go much deeper into it. HLD won't be asked. But if it is asked, it's good. It's better for you, because it means that they're expecting something better out of you. It's not that if they're asking tough questions, then they're rejecting you. They're expecting something better out of you. I have also compiled a list. I will share it with you.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to tell before jumping into the system design. System design is not about how good your system is. System design is everything if you can explain with a why. Let me give an example. If you're using a NoSQL database, and if I give you two options, you choose MongoDB or you choose Amazon DynamoDB. And if you're not able to explain why you choose DynamoDB over MongoDB or the vice versa, there is no point, even if your system is the best. So
Yeah.
system design is more about why instead of what. Now, talking about the questions are there. Generally, the questions are divided into 3 to 4 topics. First is the feed. The feed can be of Instagram or of the Facebook. Second can be of the Twitter. For Twitter, you have to gain with multiple functionalities, tweets and their followers and their leaders. And but these functionalities have to add and this. Third can be a URL shortening service. It is one of the most difficult system design questions because a lot of things are required at the backend for designing a URL shortening service. And the other again you can think of is a Netflix app or a pool sharing service like Uber or Book My Show, IRCTC. And the last that I can tell you is a messaging service, be like WhatsApp or WeChat. So these are the common questions that are generally asked, and most probably 90% of the case you will be asked to design such system or based upon that. But again, system design is not about how good you are and the system design is just like a case study. There is no specific template that you can apply anywhere. Make sure you have clear communication with the interviewer, write down the functionalities, and then think about designing. Designing in terms of this front end I will use, this tool I will use, for back end I will use this. Make sure of the request you are having. If you are having, let's say, 1,000,000 requests per second, if you are having 1,000 requests per second, so these are two entirely different systems. The tech stack you use for 1,000,000 use API requests per second and 1,000 API requests per second will be entirely different. So think in terms of user perspective, think in terms of a developer perspective, and then answer the question. And again, as I told, it is more about why than what. If you're using a particular, let's say if I have to use load balancing and I'm using an elastic load balancer, then I must be very clear why I'm using elastic load balancer and nothing else. If I'm using a Redis cluster, why I'm using a Redis cluster? There has to be a reason, and then justify a reason with that. And I think you will ace the interview once you go with the logical approach of side.
Okay. Sounds like some interesting stuff about system designing you have followed.
Yeah.
Okay, Devang. So let's move on to our next question. So how did you prepare yourself for Facebook interview?
It's a good question. Since at that time I was also working and I don't have much time for the Facebook interview. So what I made was that I was good at coding. So not specifically something new to be learned, but what needs to be done was to revision. So I made an Google Sheet, and in that Google Sheet I scheduled for these 7 days. Let's say, as I told, the recruiters already told me in advance when I'm going to have the interview. So I calculated, okay, I have this much working hours and I will solve this much topic. And then on the Google Sheet, I made several columns, particular date, particular hour, particular specific topic to device. And on that particular topic, I write my own code on a piece of paper. I didn't use any IDE. I didn't use any code auto completion so that I'm able to do code at that time. Although CoderPad provides you a feature of that, but still, if you are a good developer, you will never use auto completion for that, right? Yeah. So I remember the sheets look something like this. Today I have to code DFS, BFS, and Union Find. And next day I have to code DP. Next day I have to code for graph, next for traversal. So this is the way I approached.
Okay. So that's how you basically prepared, divided your preparation in segments and just prepared yourself. Let's move on to our next part. So tell us something about your Google Developer Group, means what it is and how can someone be a part of it?
Okay, so Google Developer Group is a community of developers, be it from a noob or be it a veteran. Anyone can join a Google Developer Group, and it provides you opportunities in terms of learning, also the virtual experiences as well as workshops where you can meet the actual developers, provide from various industries, from Google itself, and you can contribute to build something new. The best part is that everyone is so supportive there. You can reach out with any kind of problem you have, and we have different Slack there, we have WhatsApp group, we have Telegram, we have Meetup. So there's a lot of opportunities available in terms of interaction. And regarding in terms of joining that, My recruiter from Google Singapore reached out to me for a La Copy April. So La Copy is based upon a monthly event which is conducted by GDG Singapore for this speaker session. So when I saw her, I asked her if I could join the group. She told me, okay, you can apply for this particular email, and I applied on the email, and later on there was an interview process and I was shortlisted in that. So I joined as a technical member in the Google Developer Group Organizing Committee, Singapore. So I'm not sure about the other groups. They're divided into clusters all over the world: GDG New Delhi, GDG Bangalore, Hyderabad, and so many. So you should get in touch with that particular person, and he will be the right one to guide you. But generally, this is the pattern. You can ask them to join it. They might have an interview based upon your experience, and even skip that if you are good. If your profile is really good, they can admit you into the GD group. So you can start contributing to the community.
Okay. What do you think? What would you suggest to these aspirant students about the good topics for internal projects?
Okay, so as a new grad and as a student, I can understand that whenever a company comes for placement, there has to be a question about the projects. They are going to ask. That's a definite short thing.
Yeah.
So choosing a right project is most important. What I prefer is that what candidates generally do mistake is they choose a very generic project. Like if one project is on the way Twitter sentiment analysis, everyone is making Twitter sentiment analysis. Don't do that. Do something on your own. It doesn't have to be an enterprise level or having so much tough complexities. No, keep it simple, but make sure that you are well versed with the project. Starting from the research phase to the production phase, you're well versed of every step. Talking about my project, I made 3 projects and all of them were in machine learning because I have a huge interest in finance and all of these projects were in finance. So what I did was I read about the research paper, then I built the project, then I trained the model, and then I optimized it. So you should do this pattern rather than just following the trend that this is good or this technology is good. Technologies will come and go. There's no specific tool. And that's why technology is such a dynamic world. It's a volatile world. Technologies will come and go. But what you should do is see the structured approach right from the research phase to the end phase, to the production ready phase. You must be very clear what you're doing in the project. And if I have to give some specific insights, I will say built on stock market analysis. And currently this scenario, stock market analysis will be really important in the coming time. Share market analysis you can do. You can use brain tumor image detection. It's a very good project. And one of my students, I am a GullScript Summer of Code mentor. So one of my students also made it. So you can go with brain tumor image detection because it involves a lot of steps in terms of segmentation and visualization and data science. Also, you can go with credit card fraud detection and other projects that are used there. But be sure, whatever you're building from your heart. That's what matters.
Yeah. Really, it shouldn't be like just copying and pasting from somewhere else. If you are doing these projects, then it will give you a good learning. So you have to do it by your own. Yeah. And thanks, Devang, for sharing such amazing topics for the internal projects. What would you suggest to candidates, like how they can keep themselves motivated? Like, do not get demoralized when you are not able to build a logic in one go. So how they can basically improve themselves?
Okay. I'm not sure if I'm motivating enough or not. I don't consider myself as any source of motivation. But just to give you a brief introduction about myself, for 18 years of my life, I never thought of coding. Nobody from my family is in development. Nobody's from software development, as a matter of fact. All of my family members are in the armed forces. And for 18 years of my life, I dreamt of joining the Indian Army, Special Forces to be specific. So I never thought myself going there or clearing companies like Google or Facebook. Never, nothing like that. But as a surprising turn of events, things happen and it changes. And trust me, if I can do that, I think anybody can do that. This is not such a big deal. What I see is that kids or the students are not demotivated. They are not guided properly. If there is someone to guide them properly, I think it would be fun and they will enjoy it. There's nothing to be demotivated around. Now, to give you specific insights, first thing that you have to do is be crystal clear with DS. Be crystal clear which DS you are using and why you are using. Second, be crystal clear with algorithms, why you are using, when to use, and what optimize can be used. Make these things too. It will take you time and it's fine. It's okay. You will fail a lot of times and that's okay. That's how we learn. So if I have to guide you in terms of path, I will suggest you solve all the questions on Geek4Geeks first. I will share the link which specific questions you need to solve if you don't want to solve all the questions, because as I know, GFG contains more than 5,000 questions. So don't go with all the 5,000 questions. There's a list of around 50 questions that I will even share with you. Solve that question specific topic wise. And after solving those 50 questions, you can move to HackerRank or HackerEarth for better advancement, and then start solving on LeetCode. Once you're at LeetCode level and you can solve medium and hard questions, I think most of the things you can go with any product company. And if you even think that you need better, you can go with Codeforces or the SPOJ contest, and then move to the Google coding competitions or Facebook coding competitions. And to the fellow juniors, those who consider demotivated, I want to tell you this thing, and I want you to listen this. It's okay if you are getting a runtime error. It's okay if you are getting a compile time error. It's okay if you have no idea what's going on. But what is not okay is to give up.
Right.
Believe in yourself, and trust me, once you have hitting it and once you have started enjoying it, it will be a fun for you. It will not be a demotivation. It will be fun for you. All the best for you, and I hope most of you get in your dream companies.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Devang. Thanks for this session. I used to conduct such kind of sessions with young energies like you, so that these kids get motivated for their passion for coding and basically get an idea like what is going on in the industry. They could know from a people like you what to prepare, what not need to prepare. So it was a really nice session with you, and I was really happy to have you on this session. Thanks a lot, Devang, for this session.
Thanks a lot, Shiran, for giving me this opportunity, and best wishes to you and the viewers.
Thank you.
That's it for today's session, guys. I hope you guys liked this session with Devang. If you guys liked it, then subscribe the channel, like and share the video with your friends and fellow students. Comment down the best part of this video and post your questions and queries in the comment section for next video with Devang. If anybody is interested to give a tech talk on a particular domain or technology, then please reach out to me. I will be really happy to feature you on my YouTube channel. Till then, stay safe and stay tuned.